Here's the thing about buying a brand new truck. You expect it to start, you expect it to run, you expect that after spending 40, 50, sometimes $60,000 on a vehicle, the engine isn't going to give out on you before the first oil change. But that's exactly what thousands of Chevrolet owners are reporting right now, and the number keeps climbing. We're talking about the 2026 Chevrolet lineup, and specifically the engines sitting underneath the hoods of some of the most popular trucks and SUVs on the market today. The complaints flooding in the NHTSA, the forums lighting up overnight, the dealerships that suddenly can't keep up with the volume of people walking through the door with the same problems. This isn't a coincidence. Something is wrong, and Chevrolet owners deserve to know exactly what they're dealing with. So let's break this down properly. What's actually happening, which vehicles are affected, what symptoms you need to watch for, and what your options are if you're one of the people sitting on a ticking clock right now. First, the context. Chevrolet has built its reputation over decades on the back of trucks that work. The Silverado is one of the best-selling vehicles in the entire country year after year. People buy these trucks for work, for family, for reliability and conditions that would destroy lesser vehicles. So when engine failure reports start stacking up at a rate that gets attention at the federal level, it matters not just to enthusiasts, but to everyday people who depend on these vehicles to do their jobs and get their families home safely. The core issue being reported across the 2026 models centers on three connected problems that tend to show up together. The first is fuel injection irregularities. The system responsible for delivering the right amount of fuel into the combustion chamber at the right time is misfiring. When that happens, combustion becomes inconsistent, power drops, fuel economy tanks, and the engine starts working harder than it should just to maintain normal operation. Over time, that extra strain adds up fast. The second problem is timing issues. The timing system coordinates everything happening inside your engine, valves opening and closing, pistons moving, spark firing, and when that synchronization breaks down even slightly, the consequences ripple through the entire engine. Drivers are reporting rough idling, hesitation when accelerating, and in more severe cases, the engine essentially stumbling over itself, trying to maintain basic function. The third and most alarming symptom is overheating. Overheating is never a minor issue. When an engine runs too hot consistently, it warps components, degrades seals, breaks down lubrication, and accelerates wear on every moving part simultaneously. Left unchecked, overheating turns what might have been a fixable problem into an engine that needs to be replaced entirely. And engine replacements on modern trucks are not cheap conversations. Now, the Silverado is the vehicle showing up most frequently in these reports, which makes sense given how many of them are on the road. But owners of other 2026 Chevrolet models should not assume they're in the clear. If your vehicle shares the same engine family and several models in the 2026 lineup do, the underlying vulnerabilities may be the same regardless of what name is on the tailgate. So what does this actually look like from behind the wheel? Here's what affected owners are describing. You might notice a knocking or rattling sound coming from the engine that wasn't there before, not the normal sounds a truck makes, but something sharper and more irregular. You might feel the vehicle hesitating when you press the accelerator, like there's a delay between your foot and the engine's response. The temperature gauge may be running higher than normal, or you might be seeing the warning light come on during what should be completely routine driving. Some owners are also reporting a noticeable drop in fuel efficiency seemingly out of nowhere. Any one of these on its own might feel dismissible. All of them together in a 2026 model means you need to take this seriously right now rather than waiting to see if it gets better. Here's what you should do if you own a 2026 Chevrolet. The first step is to document everything. Write down when symptoms started, how frequently they occur, and under what conditions. This documentation matters enormously if you end up needing to make a warranty claim or if a recall is issued and you need to demonstrate prior awareness of the problem. The second step is to get to a dealership and get it on record that you reported the issue. Even if they can't fix it today, having that paper trail protects you. The third step is to file a complaint directly with NHTSA at their official website. Every complaint filed adds to the data that triggers federal investigations and ultimately forces manufacturers to act. Your report matters more than you might think. On the manufacturer side, Chevrolet is under significant pressure right now. Social media has accelerated everything. Owners who in previous years might have felt isolated with their problems are now finding thousands of people describing the exact same experience. And that collective voice is impossible to ignore. The demand for a formal recall, for transparent communication, and for the company to stand behind its product is getting louder by the week. If a recall is announced, and the volume of reports makes that an increasingly likely outcome, owners will be contacted and repairs will be covered. But don't wait for that letter to arrive before you start paying attention to what your engine is telling you. The cost of catching this early is a diagnostic appointment. The cost of ignoring it could be a complete engine replacement out of pocket. The bottom line is this: Chevrolet built its name on trucks that people trust with their livelihoods. That trust runs deep and it's worth protecting. But protecting it means being honest when something goes wrong, fixing it completely, and making sure the people affected aren't left holding the bill for a manufacturing problem that wasn't their fault. If you're a 2026 Chevrolet owner, stay informed, stay proactive, and make sure your voice is part of the record. Share this video with anyone you know who owns one of these vehicles, because the more people who know what to look for, the better. And if you've experienced any of these symptoms yourself, drop it in the comments, because that information helps everyone watching figure out whether what they're dealing with is part of this larger pattern.